Cam from C&K Archery. We're just going over another step in the process of string building. Most modern strings will have what's called a speed knock, which is a brass piece that is kind of hidden under heat shrink. Back in the day, we used to just go and add different pieces to the tops and bottom servings closer to the cams in order to pick up additional speed and or get better knock travel out of our arrows. What we see now is modern bows typically have them in certain places. You can still go back in with modern bows if you're really hyper tuning and figuring out what the bow likes as far as speed knocks, but luckily most manufacturers have really spent a lot of time dialing in what works best for their cams and their products. So when we're building strings, we want to be able to place those back in the exact position that a manufacturer has requested. Some companies, specifically Hoyt, does a really good job of lining that out on their string build sheets. Or in our process, when we get a new bow in that we haven't built a string for, we go and we measure the exact position where those tend to sit. Some of the things that happen is, one, some of the manufacturers will use their own packs of speed knocks, and then some of the manufacturers will use, depending on the age of the bow, will have used individual ones and stack them. Historically, Hoyt has always had quite a few, so has Matthews. This can be a more expensive part of the string building process. So I usually recommend that when you're getting started in building strings and starting to put your own speed knocks in, go to Saunders, get their standard individual 100 or 1,000 packs and start there. As you start progressing, you can start reaching out to different manufacturers to get actual packs of brass knocks to make a more clean and more aesthetically pleasing version of that process. One of the things I will tell you is heat shrink. You can use just about any kind of heat shrink. If you have questions on specific diameters, types, feel free to reach out to us directly. But if you start getting into the production side of strings, I recommend getting a logo printed on yours, and I particularly have a few different places where I've gotten them over the past, and I have a few manufacturers who will print on the right heat shrink. So if you have questions on that, feel free to reach out. But in this, I'm just going to show you just quickly how we go ahead and install your speed knocks. Okay, so what you're seeing here are two different tools, and then you have my heat shrink and you have the specific speed knocks for this bow. Right now we're doing a target bow. It's a Hoyt Atlas, and on each side it has 2 packs of speed knocks, 3 each. And if you can kind of see this right here, we have 1, 2, 3 positions. This is an individual piece that is designed to just be 3 speed knocks. Now, if you're just getting started, again, go to the Saunders and get the individual ones and just start there. I've also got 2 tools here. There's a bunch of different ones. Easton makes some. This is a Viper tool. This is for crimping speed knocks. I typically use this version more because it's for individuals. And then when I'm going in and using the Carbon Express one, which is somewhat similar to the Easton version, I will use this to crimp the more larger packs. And again, you can get these speed knock packs in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 versions. So I usually just kind of keep a few of the different ones around so that I can just add and subtract as I need to and combine to make some of the bigger packs. So what I first like to do is just look at the string. I like to make sure that all the serving is in the right places and that I'm referencing how many speed knocks and at what distance. And if you can see here in the top of the serving, we have a 3 pack and it's at 3/16, and then a 3 pack at 7/8. And again, we measured this off the bow, so we know exactly how this particular target bow was shooting at the time, so we're putting it exactly in the same place. Once I get that, I'm going to go ahead and lay out my tools and get ready to do this and add them. And first and foremost, I'm going to make sure my string is on my stretcher. And then when I go to apply these, I like to put my stretcher to 200 pounds. And if you see right now, I've got it at 100 pounds because I just double checked the length before I go and apply my speed knocks. Okay, so the process is fairly simple. So what I do is I take my tape measure, and I'm going to start with my bottom serving here and just replicate the same exact process on the top. But I'm going to measure it out 7/8. Now, sometimes you'll get some slight variation from what we measure on a string to what was written, like for instance in Hoyt. They do a really good job of having a full description of their strings. And what I like to do is, especially on target bows, is I really like to mimic exactly what was on there, because again, all strings are hand built, so there can be slight variances. And especially with a target bow, I'm really concerned with making sure it replicates the exact string that was on it from a consistency standpoint. But in this case, we have 7/8 on the bottom and 3/16 on the top. So 7/8, I'm going to take the U channel piece, I'm going to slide it up to the top position right here where I made my mark, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crimp. Now, one of the things I'll tell you is when you're crimping these larger packs, 3, 4, 5, you can actually over crimp these. Something I learned once I moved from just doing the simple Saunders single pieces, and I can just go in and over crimp them. And what happens is it will pinch this bottom section and it'll want to break. So I go in and I crimp, and then I come and do a tug. So if you see like this, I can kind of move that. That tells me that I haven't got the brass knock seated. So what I like to do is come in, and I'll come in and I'll give a little more pinch on each section. I like to think of it as 3 separate ones until I get the right position. So I'll turn the string so I get a slightly different one to make it more round, like this. Again, I'm trying to get it crimped, but not break it. And if you look, now I can push on it and it doesn't want to move. The next step is going in and taking the poundage off our stretcher. I'm going to take this, and I have custom heat shrink made, which you guys may have seen. And I will slide it over the bottom. I'll put my loop back on. Bring it back up to 200 pounds. And I'm going to slide it on so it's nice and even. Can't quite see this from this angle, but what I've done is I've kind of pinched the angle so that you can kind of get that to in an even position so it looks professional and complete. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and use a heat gun on the lowest setting and let the heat shrink suck into this piece. I'm going to grab my heat gun and show you that process. So again, I'm going to use my heat gun. I like to warm it up and kind of feel it warming up on my hand. One of the things is if you heat this too much, you are going to melt your serving and have to start all over. So what I like to do is just kind of come in until I see it starting to suck in like this. And I'll just kind of turn this, and then I'll kind of come over and kind of touch it and feel it. The thing is, I don't want to feel that the brass is getting so hot that it's going to want to melt. And what I'm kind of looking for here is that the 3 positions kind of start showing up. And I don't know if you can kind of see that right now, but we're starting to see where it's starting to kind of show through. Once I get it to a good point right here where I can start seeing the individual pieces in the pack, that's when I know I've got a good position and I've gotten that heat shrink exactly the way I want it. All right, so I've gone ahead and added the top speed knock pack to where the top serving is, which now completes the main string. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us at www.cnkarchery.com, and feel free to ask us any questions you have about string building.